Hi, this is Brian Crew from Richmond Hill, Ontario. And the topic today we're going to cover off is cash flow. Um, the symptoms of cash flow really revolve around when, although you may have a lot of work booked, you may be doing a lot of work and have a lot of monies owed to you, you don't necessarily have that money in your bank account. And that starts to create that stress that come Friday when you have to pay out payroll and maybe pay off some suppliers, you're not going to have the money in the bank account to do that. It could also be an indication that you over leverage your use of your line of credit and other credit tools, your credit cards, and so on, as a means to kind of manage your cash flow. There are better ways to do it. There are definitely better ways to do it because using lines of credit and other credit will and do cost you money in the long run. And unless we're building that into our whole piece, it doesn't make sense when we don't need to do it. The surface mistake is really what we blame the clients for not paying us on time. But the reality is there's some operational pieces we can do to offset that. The root cause is really around our quoting practices, our billing practices, our invoicing practices, and our accounts receivable practices. Those can be adjusted, and we can put some best practices in place that we can turn that, minus many days, 30 days or 60 days to pay a bill into like 0 days. Let's acknowledge first that you could have 100K in work owed to you this week that they're working on this week, but that's not the money in the bank that you need to pay that. And in some cases, the more you book this week, the harder it could actually be because you may be employing more people. There may be more salaries to pay because you're busy this week. And when that money doesn't come in until next month, that's a problem. So we don't want to not acknowledge that. We also don't want to acknowledge, we want to acknowledge the fact that this is really stressful. It can cause sleepless nights. This is stuff you can take onto the job site, you can take home. It can impact your supplier relations. It could impact your employee relations. You don't want to have that to happen. So we want to take action. There's 3 best practices we can really quickly put in place that'll help this. One is like take 50% deposit before any job gets done. That way we're not bankrolling the client we're not buying the supplies with our money. We're using their money to buy the supplies for their job. That's the first one. Second is progress billing. So if it is a longer job that lasts more than a week, we want to do partial billings throughout that spread across what makes sense across the length of that project so that we're getting paid regularly through that project and we don't have one big check coming in. And third is as soon as that job is done, we want to do same day invoicing and get that money in as quick as possible. Every day of AR counts. And there's an urgency to this that makes sense. The longer that you wait, every day that you wait is a day later. When they called you in and were willing to pay you the money to do the job, they had a problem. They had a pain that you were fixing. And the day you fix it, that pain is gone. And the longer away from that pain, the less likelihood they want to pay you for fixing the pain that's already gone. So think of it like if you eat dinner, if the restaurant, called you 3 days later and asked you to pay, you're not likely going to want to pay as much as you would when you were starving hungry and they fed you that steak. So you want to bill them and invoice them the same day you finish that job so that when they still are very cognitive of the pain and they're solved and they're feeling euphoric that you solved the big problem for them and they want to pay you the big bucks, that's when it's going to happen. So that's the last piece. And I'm 10 out of 10 confident this is a great solution and it'd be a quick and easy win. Thank you.